Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
That's what they always say. Coffee's for closers only. Luckily, here at 3-12-1, the New York Giants 2022 season, we are always closers. We're closing the deals. We're closing big things. We're making things happen. I'm here, of course, with my buddy, OGR Sports, ready to talk Giants, ready to talk everything about this upcoming draft, because you know what? It's coming up in a couple days. OGR, how we doing? How are we doing today, my friend? How are we doing?
Fantastic. How was your Orthodox Easter?
Oh, my Orthodox Easter was awesome. We did a lot of Orthodox stuff.
Really? I'm interested to hear it, but that's not the podcast. That's next week's podcast.
Yeah, because
highlighting Orthodox Easter.
Because there's so many Irish Orthodox. So, we're not Irish Catholic. We're Irish Orthodox. So I want to get into this, OJ. I'm going to jump right in this because there was news, there was speculation about Kadarius Toney, about him potentially being traded by the Giants, and him, of course, not showing up to the minicamp. And all of a sudden, miraculously, this weekend, after all the scuttlebutt, after smooth sounds of Kenny G basically calling him out, he showed up. He's in the building.
At least he's there, right? Yeah. I mean, are we going to cannonball into this, is what you're telling me?
We're going to drop right. Of course, we're going to cannonball into it. There's no other way.
Well, you could belly flop.
Oh, no, I don't want to do that. You know, we hit things like a brick. So that's why we're going to get in this, because you know what? I got a lot to say about Kadarius. But I don't want to say it, yes, because it's a kinder, gentler Tim. So I'm going to let you be the bad guy.
Oh, yeah, definitely the bad guy on this one. So, Kadarius, I don't like him.
Okay.
I never liked him coming out of college. I don't like him now. I'm an actions speak louder than words type of guy, even though I do a lot of talking myself. And what actions has Kadarius taken that, you know, as a Giants fan, you can sit there and say, yeah, one game. And then I hear the defense. Oh, well, he played with Mike Gillen. He played with Jake from State Farm. It doesn't matter. You know, as a receiver or quarterback or any position on the field, you have potential to elevate the people around you. You know, I use DeAndre Hopkins because, you know, I hear all this talent, all this scuttlebutt, how great Kadarius Toney is. You can't give up on talent. Really. But yet, you could look at DeAndre Hopkins' career, and it doesn't matter who was throwing the ball. The guy put up numbers.
He was successful.
He was. And to me, it's Kadarius Toney's actions don't speak of a player that is willing to put in the time and effort into football. His mind is somewhere else. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to be the bad guy. But if the Giants traded him, I would not shed a tear.
So you would not cry for him in Argentina. You would be happy to see him gone. You would not be losing any sleep. You wouldn't be kissing your Kadarius Toney picture and tucking it under your pillow. Now, you always get the comparison to Tyreek Hill over in Kansas City. You always hear that, especially mainly among Giant fans. And we've talked about this once or twice, that Kadarius was such an enigma on the team that the special teams coach didn't even want him returning punts and didn't even want him returning kickoffs. And I always point out to people that with Tyreek Hill, yes, he came out of a small college. He came out of a university where he was not a quality route runner, but at least he could return kicks. They don't even trust this kid to do that.
Which means the hands aren't very good.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, if they trust you at Florida, but they're not trust you with the Giants, that says a ton. Because why else would, with his electrifying speed and being the human joystick, because we're playing video games, can he not return kicks? It's got to be the hands. I mean, that's it.
I mean, because I've even said in the past, there is no, if you think about it, for especially returning the kicks, there is no playbook. You're basically looking up, you're watching the ball, you watch the ball into your hands, and you run, and you follow your coverage, or you call for a fair catch. It's not an easy thing to do in the league, but if you are a wide receiver, it's probably one of the most simplest things to learn, especially since you did it in college. It's not anything new to you. It's not like he's never returned a punt before. And you drafted him for that expectation to be able to return punts and electrify everyone, but the electricity, it's like a 25-watt bulb. It's just it's there for a moment when you flip the switch, and then it just kind of fades out. And it's funny that you mentioned Mike Glennon. He had his best game with Mike Glennon be under center in Dallas. So I can't even take expectations into that being an issue.
And look at this. Not only that, it's just like, I'm just going to segue right into the draft. I have a perfect replacement for Kadarius Toney. If we were to trade him, which we don't, because talking about the information, obviously we've gotten now that he's in the building and, he seems there, I guess, but it's just, I don't know. I don't trust him, but I have a perfect segue. Jahan Dotson. There's your replacement.
Before you get into that perfect segue, and my wife is bringing me ice cream. So not only do I get to do a podcast and I get to talk to a GR, I get to eat ice cream at the same time. I want to talk about Pat Leonard. And I want to bring this up because I'm going to be the bad guy because I'm going to get myself in trouble.
The rat?
I don't call him the rat. Pat Leonard, giant content creators and some giant fans hate Pat Leonard. And I'm going to tell you this right now. In media, being right is the most difficult thing to be because situations change, things change. And I saw this thing on Twitter that people are blocking, the giant content creators are blocking Pat Leonard. Why? Just because he got something wrong, just because he said something about Kadarius Toney, just because people don't like him, you're going to block him? Well, if that's the case, everyone should block me because I hate everybody. And I'm sitting there. Let me finish this first. And I'm gonna say this right now. And for a content creator, either a small channel or a big channel, block a giant beat writer because they don't like him or they don't like what he stands for or they don't like what he says. I'm putting myself in this category. Content creators on YouTube, in reference to media, we're on the lowest rung there is. This guy is a beat writer for a major New York metropolitan newspaper for the Giants. He's achieved everything that some content creators want to be, not me, because I can never do that job. And then people dislike him because of the fact that either they don't like what he has to say or he got something wrong and then they call him the rat. I think it's more disrespectful for the profession of a beat writer. And I'm not a big beat writer fan. I've said that a million times. I'm not a beat writer guy because I think sometimes people come up with better information than beat writers actually do. But I just think it's disrespectful for people that are in this avenue of the media to have such hatred and be like, well, we're going to block him because he said this wrong. Grow up. Sorry, grow up.
I do. I'll call him the rat, but I wouldn't block him on Twitter. Right. I'd never block him on Twitter. Why? Because being a former content creator myself, that's where you get your content.
Exactly. Thank you.
And it's like, to me, I like Patricia Traynor. I love what she has to say. What I used to do is I used to take her mailbag questions and I'd answer them live on my show.
I'll be honest. I didn't know who she was until probably like 4 months ago.
But regardless, I love beat writers. I love proving Jordan Rion wrong because he's wrong so often. Mm-hmm. He's terrible. Anybody likes Jordan Rion's takes? I'm sorry, but I will follow you on Twitter all day, Jordan Rion.
Right. There's no reason to block him. There's no reason to be a child. And that's what I think and then for some people to think that, well, I could do his job better. Okay.
Do it.
Go to journalism school. I spent 2 semesters at journalism school in University of Maryland. I couldn't cut it. I admitted it freely. Go get the job. Show us how easy it is to do this job and have to deal with the knuckleheads like us, either on social media or podcasts or YouTube or wherever.
Absolutely. No, he's a rat. I don't like Pat Leonard, but guess what? At the end of the day, I will happily report on content because he's going to give me content. Same with Jordan Rion, same with Patricia Traynor, any of these bozos, really.
Well, I just like how we went to the segment and just called him a bozo. First he's a rat, now he's a bozo. Let's just call him an a-hole. Let's get it over with.
Yeah, he is.
Now let's go back to who you have as the perfect replacement for either Kadarius Toney or Darius Slayton.
My friend Jahan Dotson.
You are a big Penn State fan.
I am a huge Penn State fan. And it's kind of funny. Little spoiler here. If you guys haven't checked out the draft show that we did on Sunday, go and check it out on Tim's channel. On My Big Blue Sports and Entertainment.
And Entertainment, LLC.
Yeah. But go check it out because, it's kind of funny. It didn't align this way because obviously this is when the Kadarius Toney rumors are really heating up on Sunday afternoon or morning. And I drafted Jahan Dotson as a vote. We never ended up doing it as a conglomerate of Giants creators or opinion takers or whatever you want to refer to it as. But that was my perfect replacement. But it's kind of funny. There's multiple Penn State players you could take there, Ebiketie and Brisker, and I don't think any Giants fan would bat an eyelash, including yourself.
No, I wouldn't. When you brought it up the first time, when you brought it up on Sunday, I mean, and we actually went with Chanel, the linebacker. It was the general consensus in the second round. I didn't have a problem with it. I actually like him. I think he would fit well into the Giant philosophy. And we don't 100% know yet what the Giant philosophy is going to be offensively. You assume it's going to be the similar system that Dable ran in Buffalo. But he would be a good fit. He would be a good fit, a good replacement. And I hate to use the word, and I hate to use it, but two words, he's a high character guy. And I think that's he to me he would be a Giant fit. He would be a good addition to the organization.
And for people who don't know who Jahan Dotson is, I'll give you a little bit of background. Punt returner, he has the most yards per return at Penn State. He averaged 24 in his career. Jahan Dotson, to me, I love him. Sure-handed, good route runner. Biggest problem with Jahan Dotson is weakness getting off of bump coverage. But then again, he's going to be, I think, a slot guy in the NFL. He can play your second wideout. You're not drafting him to be your number one overall. And that's what I really like about him. Sure-handed, speed. He's got 4.3 speed. To me, he's Steve Smith Jr. with more speed. And that's really what he reminds me of, if we had to do a Giant comparison. Now,
those that remember, of course, was Steve Smith was out of USC, had the one big season where he had over 100 catches. And then he had the knee injury, and then he left the Giants, went over to the Eagles, and did nothing, and basically ended his career. The injury basically ended his career. And actually, a Steve Smith Jr. comparison is actually a good comparison. I do worry about his. I don't worry about his off. I worry about his what they refer to as football speed, because to me, people have speed, and I always use the example of Jerry Rice. Everyone said Jerry Rice was too slow, but no, who the hell caught Jerry Rice from behind in the prime of his career? He had what they refer to as football speed, and that's the only thing I'm not questioning. I'm just wondering if that's going to his speed is going to translate into football speed on the field itself, especially in the NFL.
Yeah, and I can see that. And the other thing is the slight build. He's 174 pounds.
That's what. That's kind of where I'm getting with the football speed.
But it's not like when you look at Devontae over with the Eagles, you say, okay, too skinny. You don't see that with Jahan Dotson. No. He fits his build a little bit better at 174 pounds, but he definitely could put on some more weight. I'd like to see him in the 190 somewhere.
Now, do you think that adding those extra pounds will do anything to his quickness?
It could, but then again, guys have added weight before, and it doesn't. It all depends how if you add it all at once, I could see it being a big problem as you add it slightly over your career. You don't have to add 20 pounds right away. That's just me. Kind of work into it, but
I will tell you this: I've added weight and I'm slowed down.
You know what, Tim? I don't believe that for a second. The naysayers say that.
As I'm sitting here eating ice cream.
I timed your 40 the other day, just as good as you were in high school.
Do you have a sundial? I tried to ride a bicycle the other day. Okay. I think I went back in time. I think I was going so slow I went back in time. So, I mean, now if the Giants cannot get him, and to me, the Giants in this draft are still going to need a wide receiver. Because you got the smooth sounds of Kenny G coming off the $72 million bad season. You don't know what he's going to produce. You got Shep, who may not be even ready before the start of the season. You have Darius Slayton, who they're talking about moving on from, who had has not progressed after his rookie season. And you have Kadarius Toney that you have no idea what you're going to get, or if he's going to be on the field, or how long he's going to be on the field, or if he's decided that he's going to continue to be a rapper. And I don't want to bash the kid, but I am I'm a hip hop aficionado going back to the 80s. And I'll tell you this, Joku, whatever his name, I think he sucks. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I think he should stick to football. But who do you think the Giants could get either later in the draft or in the first round? I don't know. Or just
that actually leads into perfect rumors today. Did you hear the new rumor today? Because of Kadarius Toney. A lot of people are mocking us at 7
to Garrett Wilson.
To Garrett Wilson.
For those that do not know, I'm going to shamelessly plug myself again. Online Big Blue Sports LLC today did a video, and I spoke to someone that was giving me information that's been correct quite extensively over the last 2 seasons. And he basically told me that the Giants are going to go somewhere at 5, that no one would think that they were going to do. And he said that there are going to be dominoes that are going to fall before the draft that are going to lead to a conclusion of where the Giants may go at 5. And now I see people mocking Garrett Wilson at 7. And I laugh because I could see Garrett Wilson at 5.
I could too. That's the thing. I just don't know if I want.
Well, I don't think I want him.
I just don't want to take a receiver that high. I look at this class. It's a decent class. And there's guys that you can get like John Mitchell out of Alabama or Kahil Shakir out of Boise State that I would still be fine with. And you can still get those guys 2nd, 3rd, or even 4th round.
Do you think the Giants are a little bit tainted? And maybe they want to go with Wilson because of what happened with Devontae Smith. How they kind of got screwed on drafting him, and they don't want to go through that situation again. They don't want to be jilted at the altar one more time.
That's a poor reason to be drafted.
I know it's a poor reason. I didn't say it was a good reason.
No, I can see it, but I think last year's receiver class was good. Don't get me wrong. But to me, I don't know, each and every year, you always get guys that you can find 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, 5th round, 6th round. And these guys turn into instant starters in their first 2 years in the league. And there's numerous. You go across the league, I could name a ton. So
I know, and I definitely understand that. But like I said, I just have this feeling. And I don't think it's coming from the Shane. I don't think it's coming from the Dable. I personally think it's coming from the Mara. That he sees what Devontae Smith did with the Eagles. He saw what he's seen with his own eyes, even though they did it to themselves, what Parsons did with Dallas. They see what Jamar Chase did in Cincinnati. And they're sitting there looking at saying, you know what? We haven't had a guy since OBJ. We haven't had a true generational talent wide receiver since Odell Beckham Jr. And that's what this city needs. That's what this city craves. Because I will tell you right now, I think in some ways the Giants are sitting there thinking we need to do something, or I should say Maris might be thinking we need to do something exciting. We need something to get the fan base pumped up. We need to, even though we're going to be bad, we need to do something that could create excitement on the games we're getting blown out 35-17.
And that just annoys me.
Oh, it annoys me too.
It annoys the piss out of me because it's like, okay, here's a medium Pepsi. For one barcode. Even though you can have 5 tickets on the barcode, you get 1 medium Pepsi. Or you can just hold out your hand. How about build the right way and make us into a perennial contender and be the first team to break the 5-year window cycle? How about do that?
I would like that. I'd be happy to go to a game where I didn't leave getting pissed because we lost by 30.
And that's all I want the Giants to do is be competitive this year. I don't care if we win 2 games. If we're in every game, I don't mind going through the heartbreak. I don't. But getting back to the draft, because I feel myself going on a tangent here, so I gotta pull myself.
You gotta rein yourself back in.
Oh yeah. To me, be smart, draft the right players. There's plenty of guys you could take at 5 and 7. There's plenty of guys you could draft later in the draft. You know, even though maybe you're not the biggest Mitchie guy, he was exciting at Alabama. I'd be equally excited for Mitchie as I would Garrett Wilson or Jahan Dotson. Like, to me, there's plenty of good playmakers I can be excited about in this year's draft.
I got a name later in the draft. It's a wide receiver, someone I like. 6'5", 210 pounds. Another USC guy. Any idea? Mr. Drake?
I am not familiar with this.
Mr. Drake London?
I am not as familiar with the wide receiver draft class until recently.
I understand that. You didn't do your homework. But that's okay. We're not gonna you didn't do your homework. You had homework you didn't do. Drake London, big target. Big guy, nice long strides. I think he's like we've talked about a moment ago. He has, in my opinion, he has football speed. He has the ability with that side. You talk about the smooth sounds of Kenny G being a contested ball guy. But in my mind, Kenny G isn't much more from what we've seen in New York. And I think a lot of what he did was because of the dome and Matthew Stafford. And he only had one season where he had that big touchdown season. It was like 10. And then he had seasons of like 2 touchdowns and 3 touchdowns. So when we brought him in, I never really thought he was going to be this big touchdown guy. I think Drake could be this guy that could come in and be not only the contested ball guy, you know, in more the lines of the Plexico Burris and not the Kadarius and not smooth sounds of Kenny G. And I think he's a guy that we probably grab if we have to trade back up into the later half of the first round. I would do that, but because I'm not sure he's going to be there at the early half of the second round.
I'm kind of doing my research on the fly, Tim, and I'm seeing him actually drafted even in the top 15, to be totally honest with you right now. And just flying through some of these mocks real quick.
Well, the mocks,
if we because you know what, actually that does tie in, because you did mention in your video earlier today that you could see the Giants trading the 7th pick back.
Yep.
Not to kind of spoil anything. So yes, absolutely, I could see that.
Well, like I said, I'd
be more comfortable with something like that.
We've talked about this before with the 7th pick. We don't have the money. There's not. And then, I mean, I'm not sitting here going, I really want to trade the 7th pick. You don't move James Bradbury. Even if we move Bradbury, we're still short on signing the rookie class. Other things are going to have to be done. I've said it before. I've said this back when the draft picks came out, when we knew we were getting 5 and 7, I said we may have to have the opportunity where we move out of the top 15 just so we could sign our draft class. And I think that's the biggest issue right now that the Giants fans need to consider and look at. It's the financial aspect of it. And I love it because I've had so many people tell me in the past that the salary cap is a living, breathing thing. It has fluidity to it. It doesn't mean anything, Lovey. Damn Gilligan can't fix the boat. But you know, that skipper, he's fat, and I don't know why they never had sex with the 2 girls on the island, but I'm not going to get into that, Lovey. But it's not a living, breathing thing. And I said it before, I said it last year, you're going to hit a wall where you have no money. And that's exactly what happened last year at the end when we could not even field a 53-man roster because we didn't have the salary cap space. And I have no clue, and I'm hoping the Shane pulls something out. Maybe you could talk me down here, Mr. OGR. I got no clue how we're going to pay for 2 top 10 picks.
We're going to do something that you don't like doing.
We're not going to extend. Don't tell me that.
We're going to extend.
Don't tell me. I mean, I can't wonk at you, but don't tell me that.
But we are going to. There is no choice but to backload a couple contracts here and there. It's getting to that point. I know you hate doing it. I do too. I hate taping salary cap out of future years.
But that's what got us in trouble.
I understand that, but doing it slightly, because that's all the Giants did last year was like, oh, let's move the money back. Let's move the money back. Let's move the money back. No, they already did it once with Adoree. I could see it doing it one more time. That's it.
They renegotiated James Bradbury's contract 3 times last year. to move bonus money. 3 times. You can't keep. I've said it before. It's the whole Popeye Wimpy thing. You can't pay me, today for hamburger on. Pay me today for hamburger on Tuesday or whatever the hell it's called. You can't do that. You can't keep doing it because Tuesday shows up. And you know what? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday all fell into this season.
I don't want to do it either, but
I'm going to yell at you because you decided to do it.
I'm sorry.
No, apology not accepted.
Tell me what else besides moving off of James Bradbury? Where are you getting the money from, Tim? Are you pulling it out of? Oh no, sorry. I know what you're going to do. Cut David Sills.
Yes. You know what I'm going to do? Here's what I don't understand. Maybe you can explain it to me because I still don't understand this. You have the post June 1st exceptions. You get 2 of them before June 1st cut date. You get 2 of them. Why didn't we exercise one of those post June 1st cuts on Logan Ryan, where we could have saved $6 million or whatever it was instead of $775,000? Now I understand that it would have pushed an additional $3.5 million in dead cap money into 2023. But that's the one move I do not understand that Joe Shane did. I understand. Listen, I understand that he went to the pizza party and they drank the Coors Light. And I've said this before, fraternities have better beer than Joe Judge did. And he's a millionaire and he's going to get paid for 3 additional years to do nothing. But I don't understand why they did not move that post June 1st designation out. So and this is why I'm saying they're not, and this is kind of where I'm getting to the point. It's kind of a roundabout way, but you can't tell me they're going to try to push money into next year when they could have did that and saved money this year with Logan Ryan and then had the extra $3.5 million into next year. I don't think he wants to touch next year's piggy bank. Joe Shane, that is.
But not only that, here's the thing. I just don't see how he doesn't touch next year's piggy bank. I don't want to. That's what the hallmark of bad Giants teams have done. But if I'm looking at this right now, I don't see where you're like, I understand. You're right. He should have used the post June 1st, but I just don't looking at it. I just don't see how he does not push money back unless what are you going to cut Graham Gano? No, you're not.
No, you can't. He's the only guy who can score.
I mean, that's $5 million dead cap.
I mean, that's literally, because I've said it before, and I'm not picking on the kid, but you take a look at Daniel Jones's haircut. He's not scoring with that haircut. Only Graham Gano can score on this team. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, there's guys you can cut like O'Shane Zimenez, David Sills, and you're going to save.
We just signed David Sills.
But it's penny on the dollars. Well, yeah, that too. But there's definitely cuttable guys on here, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't see how he does it. I don't get paid the big bucks. I don't get paid the Kevin Abrams type money to make these friggin'
Kevin Abrams owes us money.
That's for sure. I don't see it. I don't know. And you're absolutely 100% right. As much as it pains me to agree with you sometimes.
You going to make a rebuttal video?
No.
Sorry, I had to throw that. I had to throw that one out. I had to throw that one out. I have not pulled up the salary cap because I'm not doing my due diligence.
I'm actually I pulled it up on Sports.
And I already understand that you can't move on from Leonard Williams because you're going to get like what 28, 30 million, whatever the hell it is. You can't move on from Adoree. You can't, because we also renegotiate. You can't move on from Kenny G. I mean, we're so cap heavy with like 5 guys. And that's the way you ruin your franchise, that we reached a point where we can't even move on for these guys. That I hate the fact that, and you're probably right. The best way to do it is to move some money into 2023. But then I feel like we're going to still be stuck with these bloated contracts with these guys who do not produce to the specification. Great example. We've talked about it a million times. I'm not going to ad nauseum. Leonard Williams had 1 career year out of 6, and he got paid for that. And we're paying for that right now. He reverted to the player that he was. You can never forget the first 5 seasons you were in this league and think your 1 season is going to be the benchmark from now on. And we're going to be paying for this now for at least this season. And if you move his money, we would have less of a cap hit if we got rid of him next year. But now we're going to definitely have to be stuck with him another year because we're going to have to move some cap space from him in the 2023. That's what pains me.
And you're 100% right. The only two guys that are cuttable on the roster to me right now, to be totally honest with you, just staring at it right now in the face, is our good friend O'Shane Zimenez,
right?
Which I think you're saving like $800,000. It's a $209,000 cap hit. And there was one other one I'm looking for right now, Nick Gates. And I think like 2.1 million.
And I think Nick Gates
with an $800,000 cap hit.
I think Nick Gates is a guy that should be cut. And the National Football League, like college or anything else, is a league where you cannot have empathy for a player just because he broke his leg or he's having a bad season. Because of the fact that you have to win. And Nick Gates, to me, until he can prove that he is going to be somewhat of the player that he was right there, is an anchor on a roster spot.
You're right, but he is getting, he's getting okay. I mean, I don't even know if he's making less or more than a veteran's minimum. But I mean, maybe you renegotiate that so you could keep him, because you know what? You're right. It is a gruesome injury. You don't know what you're going to get back. There's a lot of question marks. But Nick Gates is the type of player we need. Just his attitude, his competitiveness on the field, his fire on the field. This is the player I really like. I want to see if I want to give him a chance to get back, but I 100% get why you'd cut him right away.
My thing is this about Nick Gates, and I want to get on the bash Nick Gates wagon. When they gave him the contract a couple years ago, I was the first one that came out, and I got blasted for it and said, what has he done to deserve the contract he's got? Because at that point in time, he really did nothing. You were paying him off potential. His first season as a center, if we are honest, and I know a lot of Giant fans don't want to be honest, was average at best. And I don't blame him for that because he never played center before. But I said it even during the season. I have never seen a center get a holding call because of the fact that he had his arm wrapped around the guy's neck and almost looked like he was giving him the Heimlich maneuver. And I don't understand how he spun the guy around that he could have. I've never seen that in the league. And that year he had more holding penalties that I've ever seen ever called on a center. And I understand it's a switch of position. And they thought so highly of him at the center position. This last year, they moved him back to guard. And because you can't say Billy Price was a better center than Nick Gates. you can't say that. So they thought so highly of him, they switched his position. And again, like I said, to me, it's a business. You need to look at it from a business perspective. And a business perspective to me is you cut him right now. Who's going to sign him? Nobody. No one's going to snatch up a guy that has this type of injury and may be back to where he was, but we still really haven't defined a position for him.
No, we haven't. And I completely get it. And maybe it's just me not, wearing the fan hat too tightly.
I was able to say, maybe it's just me not being a heartless asshole like the other guy on the mic.
It's not even, I'm not even trying to be a heartless asshole.
I'm the heartless asshole.
We can get rid of Brian Lewerke. According to this, he's still on the roster.
You know what? You can never go by that sports track and the other one because they had one of them had Jalen Smith and someone else on the roster, and he's like, he's not even under contract. Yeah,
but to me, maybe it's just again me wearing that fan hat too tightly. I want to see him, given a chance.
He got a chance. He got a contract.
I want to see him come back, Tim. I'm sorry. I'm being a bleeding heart here. I can be as equally as
cynical as me.
Exactly. But on this one, I'm sorry. I want to give the guy a chance. I'm being a bleeding heart. You're absolutely right. Your way of doing it is so much better. Maybe you'd be a better GM than me. I don't know.
OGR's just sitting there.
Make the bad man stop.
Just because I want to cut poor Nick Gates. What is another player you like? Because I want to cut him too. Who else can I get rid of?
Rodarius Williams. I just threw one out there.
No, I like Rodarius Williams. I actually think. I think you might have some talent.
Ben Brent. Oh, here's another Penn State homer of mine, Cameron Brown. There you go. You're allowed to cut him.
I can cut Cam Brown?
Yeah.
Good, because he's cut. He is another guy, and this is what I hate about the way the Giants roster was constructed last year or two. We have all these 7th round picks. And I'm not picking on you. I am picking on some people in the fan base. Every 7th round pick we ever took, or 6th round pick we ever took the last couple of years, was going to be the greatest guy ever. They're the diamond in the rough. Cam Brown, he's the 55th guy on a solid 53-man roster. And our roster right now, with the guys that we have signed, are solid 54, 55, 56-man roster guys. I've said it before. A lot of the guys that we have signed, if you want in a baseball analogy, are what I like to refer to as AAA plus. They're too good for AAA, but they can't play in the major leagues. They're somewhere in that stratosphere. So I call them AAA plus players. And I think that's what we're signing right now. But we're also doing that because of why? Salary cap? Because we have no money.
We have to. It's the same thing. But I mean, you didn't report on that big signing of Atkins.
No. I've said this before, and you're going to get me in trouble. I've said this before. I'm not going to make a video or a podcast on something on every player the Giants signs, because and I always said it, people do it for the clicks, the likes, the bleeps, and the bloops. I do it because of the fact that I want to provide what I would like to consider quality content in reference to actually having a formulated opinion. And not just, we signed this guy, even though he's never done anything, but he's going to be the greatest player ever. I mean, I've seen way too many videos like that. They give me a headache. One thing that I liked about your channel before you moved on was the fact that why we may not have agreed on certain things and certain opinions, you had an opinion. I've seen videos, I've seen tweets. I saw a tweet today. I don't remember the exact gist of it, but it was about a player, and it was, this guy is going to be great. And it ended with, unless he's not. It's like, that's not an opinion. that's called being wishy-washy. What?
Because people are afraid of ridicule. Giants content, they're afraid of ridicule. Okay. Oh, wait, I don't have the popular opinion. Wait. No, who gives a shit if you have the popular opinion? Stick by your guns. Yep. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Who gives a shit? Half the guys that make, I'm gonna preview the Giants win-loss total. Gonna be wrong 90% of the time, 95% of the time. Okay, you never know what's gonna happen in the NFL season. The Giants could go out and Daniel Jones could be the guy, and the Giants go 10-6, and Tim looks like an a-hole.
Yep. I look like an a-hole if he went 2-14. I should say 2-15.
And I somebody questioned in the comments last year, is there still a 16-game season? In my head, there is. Okay, leave me alone.
And I love it because, and again, I'm not picking on Giant fans, but everyone should know what 3-12-1 is. If you are a true diehard Giant fan, and 83 wasn't that long ago. And it's only the Hall of Fame coach who gave you 2 Super Bowls that almost got fired because of 3-12-1. And I love it because you had some people going, there's 17 games now. Well, I can't change it to 3-12-2. I can't. That's not the purpose of it. But I want to get off of that because I think we bashed enough people today for that. I want just quickly. And it doesn't have to be quickly, but I want to talk about Daniel Jones a second. There was some comments that Brian Dable made about the quarterbacks and about the situation and everything, about what's going on. And he seemed to be more referring to Tyrod Taylor, the way he was talking, the way about running their system and everything else. And they've always said the right things about Daniel Jones, the Giants. It isn't Shane and Dable. But they always add caveats. Like, Shane came out and said that Daniel Jones is our quarterback for now. Do you think that there is as much trust and as much believability that these guys have right now in Daniel Jones that's being portrayed into the media? Because like I said, every time they talk about him, there's always a caveat. And I kind of find that interesting that if he is truly your starting quarterback, he's truly your guy. You don't give Tyrod Taylor low-end starter money. And you don't sit there and always add in the "for now" comment in reference to your quarterback if he's your guy.
Well, right now, here's a question for you. I'm going to answer your question with another question.
Okay.
Okay. Do you think there's an open competition at quarterback for the New York Football Giants?
Yes.
There's your answer.
Okay.
They don't trust him. I mean, they know what they have in Tyrod Taylor. There you go. They don't trust Daniel Jones. They don't know if has he been cleared from contact yet?
No. They're still talking about August.
You're talking about August, yet you've got no choice but to get Tyrod Taylor prepared to start the season. Because again, hasn't been cleared for contact. Went to go see 3 specialists. We don't know what's wrong with that neck. It's as simple as that. And I'm not trying to doom this guy's career. I want to see Daniel Jones succeed. I want to see him prove me and you wrong.
Right. I would like to be wrong.
I also want to draft Malik Willis, but that's besides
that doesn't count though. But do you think, do you think management, and I'm going to ask you a question with a question. If Tyrod Taylor balls out in preseason, and is totally head and shoulders above Daniel Jones in all aspects through the preseason, through training camp, and through everything else, do you think that Mara will allow Dable and Shane to play Tyrod Taylor over Daniel Jones? Because we saw what he did with Eli Manning. Like I said, I am the biggest Eli Manning supporter there is. But 17 probably should have been Eli Manning's last season with the Giants.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. If that's the case, if John Mara's going to do that, then we're doomed as a franchise. And this next 4 to 5 years is going to be an absolute train wreck. And we're going to relive this nightmare. And instead of sucking for the last 10 years, it's going to be we've sucked for the last 15.
Right.
If he wants to sit here and be the guy to make the decisions, and I don't mean to go on a tangent on John Mara again. I just went on one last week. But again, that's not smart.
No, it's not a smart way to run a football franchise. But
no, you if you think there's going to be an open competition, and we think there is, and then we think some other things too, but without getting into that, then you give the guy who earns the position. At this point, Daniel Jones should be heads and above Tyrod Taylor, and if he can't be, give Tyrod Taylor the job because that's what he deserves.
And plus, Tyrod will probably puncture his lung or something. Sorry.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Sorry, me just being mean again.
It doesn't matter. The next week, Daniel Jones will friggin' slide, break his neck, and then we have Davis Webb out there.
Ooh. Davis Webb. I don't think, you know what? I couldn't handle Jake. I don't know if I can handle Davis Webb.
Hey, at least with Davis Webb, we know the arm is strong, okay?
The arm is strong. The arm is strong with this one. Yeah, poor Jake. That is the saddest. I want to say that is the saddest enigma wrapped in a riddle there is. That poor Jake commands his troop, commands his huddle, can call can call out everything, can get to the line, can make his shifts, can put everyone in position, can hike the ball, then can't throw the ball 6 yards. I mean, that's
dude. I'm pretty sure I have a stronger arm than Jake Fromm.
I think you
probably. That's pathetic.
I think you probably do. And we're not making fun of Jake.
I'll tell you what. I'm not trying to blow smoke up, but last year, I coached flag football, and one of the coaches at the end of the season goes, "Do you think you hit the goalpost?" I said, "Yeah, I think I can." 25-yard line on a rope, hit the goalpost. I'm not a big time quarterback. That's at least a 30-yard throw right there. So I know I can throw 30 yards.
So you could throw 27 yards further than Jake.
Yes, I can.
Oh my goodness. Well, we ran a little bit longer today than I thought. We were going to keep it under 45 minutes. We were going to keep it under the sweet spot, but we've gone over again. Before we close this out, Mr. OGR, is there any pearls of wisdom that you have for Giants? I mean, the draft is coming up shortly. The draft is coming up quickly. Is there any pearls of wisdom that you can extol to Giant fans in reference to either patience or understanding or enhancing their chi about what's going to happen this Thursday?
This Thursday, we either are going to find out, we're going to find out what Joe Shane, Brian Dable, and who's really calling the shots. Are we going to get a smart draft? Or are we going to get a stupid draft? Because based on your information, and I text this to you earlier, I'm feeling Charles Cross's selection at number 5.
See, I still think that Charles Cross is a smokescreen.
I hope you're right, because if he's not, I'm going to be a very mad Giants fan.
And we were going to end the show, but I got to talk about Charles Cross for a second. He is the third best tackle in the draft in almost everyone's draft boards. Third best tackle. I think he's an excellent pass blocker. He has the same frame as Matt from Connecticut. And that worries me a little bit because I don't think he's going to be able to bulk up. His core position to me is going to be left tackle. So I cannot see the Giants taking Andrew Thomas and moving him over to right tackle to then install a rookie at left tackle and then have the 3 band of others, have the 3 amigos, whoever they're going to be, starting on the line alongside with them. Because then you have 5 new starters at 5 different positions. And if you're worried about the sensitivity of Daniel Jones, that's a bad way to play football. Well, you know what? Watching Daniel Jones playing quarterback, I do need Sensodyne for my teeth. I like Sensodyne. You got the cavity. You got the cavity protector and the enamel one. Oh, those are. I love Sensodyne. Sensodyne's great. I think that's one of the best toothpaste there is. Gritting your teeth watching Daniel Jones as they almost shatter because you're in so much pain watching him play quarterback. You're in so much pain watching playing quarterback. And you know what, Mr. OGR, we're going to end it right there because there's only one reason.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only. Coffee's for closers only. And this is Tim for OGR. And 312-1, bringing you episode number 2. We'll have a recap video, or excuse me, a recap draft podcast coming up. Mr. OGR, close it out. Well, Tim, it's been a pleasure. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Let's not panic. Let's hope we do the right thing in the draft. It's been OGR. And I'll catch you next.